So now we get to talk about the topic that no one really wants to talk about, and that is the Senate Majority Leader. And don't misunderstand me, I'm glad Mitch McConnell is bye bye. That is probably a really good thing. He would be a poison pill the whole time Trump's trying to get anything done. He needs to go. Now, the two choices that a lot of people are floating around, I'm going to shrink my head here. A little bit of shrunken head syndrome here. The two that people are mostly talking about, or the three rather, are Thune, Cornyn, and Scott. So I saw a post from the two moron brothers, the Krasensteins, that they don't want Scott because he'd be a rubber stamp on anything that Trump put through. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but that's kind of what the American people want. I don't know the first thing about Thune, but I'm sure about to find out, along with everyone else. Um, let's see here. South Dakota man says he's a Republican, but we all know that don't mean squat. Political positions. Let's see here. Let's go with the ones that I care about. Free speech. Very nondescript. Foreign policy. He's got a very nondescript record as far as I can tell. I wouldn't really. I don't really see anything here that would tell me he'd be a bad pick, but I would want to actually hear the man speak, which I really haven't heard much from him. He kind of seems like the kind of guy to sit things out. Um, Definitely not Cornyn. Cornyn would be the worst decision you could make. No, you want to talk about a poison pill. Rick Scott, I do know a little bit about Rick Scott, and I got to push back against the rubber stamper idea a little bit because it's Rick Scott. If he thinks something's going to be bad, he's not going to do it. Like, straight up. He has a political career as a senator, and anything that he does bad would cost him that job. So he's probably not going to rubber stamp like if Trump were to, I don't know, mandate that school lunches had to be cut in half or something like that. Nah, he's just going to sit there and say, nah, pass. Next bill, please. This is ridiculous. I'm not even going to talk about it. I think that there are a lot of things that he would say no to. Absolutely. 100%. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. That is a good question. But hey, just to be fair, we'll absolutely go there. But I do agree with 66.1% of the people who actually took this poll. It should. I personally think it should be Scott. Oh yeah, that's not a good way to do that. I forgot about Ridley Scott. Spell stupid. Spell. So, wait, in 2010, it was a contest between three Republicans. Man, and it happened again. Oh, those are gubernatorial. Never mind. Okay. This must be associated with him getting the job over, or handing the job over rather to DeSantis, basically. Okay, that's good to know. He's one of three candidates. Armed Forces Committee, Airland Subcommittee, Personnel, Sea Power, Committee of Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that then. Because then we'd lose someone, a very good person for the Committee of Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. Definitely the person who would. It's definitely not a committee that you really want to take someone from, especially if they're good at their job. Committee on the Budget, yep. And Special Committee on Aging. So basically, when it comes to Scott potentially getting in, you kind of have to choose between him being the Senate Majority Leader versus. Do they get to keep their committee assignments if they are the Majority Lead? Okay. Um, Here. We'll just do a voice search. I'm not going to bother to post it up there because I'm not using my voice search on my computer. If a senator becomes the majority leader, do they have to give up their committee assignments? It doesn't say. Of course, Google doesn't bother to give that answer. Okay, well, Google's not giving me the answer, and I'm not really going to bother to research it, but assuming that's true, then technically all three of them are. We're being honest, then, if they have to go up their committee assignments, all three of them are bad picks. Because, they're probably in the committees that they need to be in. Just saying. Oh, man. Cornyn. I'm kind of surprised the Krasensteins didn't suggest this guy. Because, conservatives hate this guy. I can tell you right now, we all hate this guy. And this right here is exactly why. It's because he was one of the senators who helped pass the Safer Communities Act, which is just another name for a bill that infringes upon rights and attempts to shove red flag laws in in everybody's face. It's just no. Um, um, but prior to that, I mean, his record was good.
Why won't you turn off?
I guess that depends. Did he learn his lesson from the whole Safer Communities Act thing or not? That's kind of where I stand on that one. I mean, I'll be pushing for.
You gonna turn off or not? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no, that right there would be the thing that turns off the Krasensteins. I didn't know he said that. Um, that would be one thing that would have them say no to Cornyn definitely. That actually even has me saying no to Cornyn. Um, yeah, no, definitely not Cornyn. I'm not really supportive of same-sex marriage. In fact, as a religious angle, I find it kind of repugnant. But at the same token, I really, really don't think it should be the government's place to make that decision. That's like saying I can't marry my fiance because we have a weight difference between the two of us. You can kind of go fuck yourself on that, as far as I'm concerned. Um, so yeah, no, I think that should be like an instant disqual as far as Cornyn is concerned. Um, like straight up. And yes, this is coming from a real conservative. I believe in gun rights. Absolutely. I think that you should be able to own any government up to any gun up to government. Yeah, I wish we could be that kind of rich people to own our own governments. That'd be awesome. That'd also be a headache. But I think that you should be able to own fully automatic weapons exactly like the chain gun that was in the Predator movie. I think that should be 100% a thing. I think that the American civil populace should be armed 100% of the time. And I think that every person, left, right, and center, should consider it. And that is where I stand on the topic of weaponry. I also believe that we do have a Christian moral framework in this country, but it really shouldn't dictate what goes on in your own home so much as how you behave in public. Now, I'm not saying that a married gay couple can't hold hands or kiss or whatever. I mean, if I have to explain that to my kids, then that's fine. That's an easy thing to do, but I think everyone kind of draws the line at them twerking and stripping in front of each other and in front of kids in public. Pretty sure that's kind of the red line for everything, right? Pretty safe to say that's the big red line that no one wants to cross and no one should cross, is keep the kids out of it. But yeah, I do believe um I think that right there just lost Cornyn any chance of being majority leader, in my opinion. So he's kind of a non-factor. Thune doesn't. have anything as far as I can tell. I don't see anything in his political positions that even mentions that. I mean, the gun control thing. You know, it's an open society. When somebody does what he wants to do, it's going to be hard to prevent anything. But I think people are going to have to take steps to protect, to say, yeah, steps in their own lives to take precautions to protect themselves. And in situations like that, you know, try to stay safe. As somebody said, get small. Um, he voted against the high capacity mag ban. Well, the weapons are only more lethal by that account if you're slow firing. I've seen guys that can shoot revolvers so quick you think that it's the same shot. Just ask Jerry McCulloch about that. Um he's kind of it's kind of like trying to grab onto a jellyfish when it comes to the whole gun control thing with this guy. Like, I can't really tell. I mean, I can tell that he voted against the high capacity mag ban, which makes sense considering most Glock 9mm Glocks can house 13, 14, and up, you know, as far as rounds goes. Me personally, I'm a 45 single stack, so 9's the best I'm gonna get. Um, unless I go buy a special mag attachment for it, that, you know, that extended magazine, which I don't. I mean, I should probably do because, you know, less reloads, but like, I live in Maine. Just how much reloading am I really gonna have to do here? And not to mention the fact that, you know, a big old 20, 30 round stick mag for a 45 is kind of. I'll put it to you this way, as kind of a joke. Is that a stick mag in your pocket, or are you happy to see me kind of question? You know what I mean? um, I'm. Alright. I don't see anywhere where he was even a Democrat remotely. According to Wikipedia, which I don't like using that often, but I don't see them having a reason to lie about this. Thune is an evangelical Christian who married his wife Kimberly Weems. They have 2 daughters and several grandchildren. Physically active, frequently competed in running events. Okay, cool. He's in shape. Thune is a fan of the band Styx, Journey, Boston, and the Doobie Brothers. Oh. Okay, that kind of turns me off a little bit, seeing him with Dick Cheney, but like, the Cheneys have been so up politics butts. Even Sarah Palin was involved with the Cheneys to a degree. Well, he was the Senate Minority Whip at one point. I'd have to give him some thought and a lot more research. I know I like Rick Scott for the job. That one's kind of an obvious, you know, whatever. I don't know. But I know that I don't want to spend too much more time on this topic. I like Scott. I can't. I mean, I'd love to see Rand Paul do it. Except he doesn't want the job. And I mean, I understand why. Because he doesn't like the idea of it. Um, I dude, JD Vance is gonna be the vice president. I don't think you can have a vice president that's also the Senate Majority Leader. That is. I really wish I had a guest who was more well versed, like totally. I'd clean off the couch and set up a second camera and everything for someone who actually knows the answer to a lot of these technical questions about the Senate, because I have no idea what's allowed and what's not. Like, oh no, look, this combination right here is just about every conservative's wet dream. There's just one, well, there's two glaring problems. And it's not having Trump as president, it's the two down below. You got one guy who doesn't want the job, and the other one, I'm not sure if he wants the job. He's never expressed an interest in it. I mean, we'd all like to see Thomas Massey be the Speaker of the House, but I don't know if he'd do it. The election's over. We don't need to keep up with the Kamala attack ads. I've done more than my fair share of them since the election's been over, but, like, seriously, can we get some better ads? Can we, like, promote healthier Fruit Loops or something? I'm sure a healthier, like, no processed corn syrup version of Fruit Loops would make, and, you know, without the food coloring, would make Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., I will eventually learn to call him by what everyone's calling him. Mike Lee. That's the name I didn't consider. Let's take a look at Mike Lee real quick. What are the odds of him doing that? Let's see. Political. Oh, this is a list. Okay, I see nothing on guns, which could be either way. Criminal justice reform. Democracy and election reform, economy. What I would really want, and I'm being honest, what I'd really like if I can't have Rand Paul is another senator who wants to try to balance the budget, who would like to try to pass a bill to do that. Environmental. Okay, this is that Mike Lee, the Mr. Velociraptor. Okay. All right. um Not Mike Lee. No.
You can throw that away, Graham. You don't know this.
No, I would not promote Mike Lee at all. Yeah, that's, again, this is more because I think as a Christian, I do believe that legalistically you should have the right to commit whatever sins you want to commit. I think that the church's role is not to make a religious theocracy, but rather to influence people away from sin, not force them out of it using threat of government force, because I believe that that's the wrong way to go about it. You're not making real Christians at that point. You're making subservient people who are just doing what you want out of fear of being arrested. It's like the preacher who goes to church and says you're going to hell unless you believe. Well, at that point, they're not wanting to advance in a relationship with God. They're just saying what they need to say to avoid hell. And that's not really what God wants. And you could say, oh, well, the ends justify the means, all that you want. But the reality of such governmental tactics usually ends in one of about three ways: a complete and utter dictatorship with a theocracy at its basis, complete and utter civil war, or constant acts of rebellion that you constantly have to quell. And it's not feasible. And I really disagree with making same sex marriage, no. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. But that was back in 2015. But to be fair about the last one that he did, the Respect for Marriage Act, I would have voted against that one too, and here's why. There is no legal protection for straight marriage at all. Because culturally, we don't need those protections. You could argue that, sure. But I don't think that culturally we should need protections for the other ones either. I don't think that the federal government should have any say in marriage. I think that that's something that should be between two people in the church or two people in whatever religious institution they subscribe to. In my case, it would be a Protestant church, most likely an Assemblies of God church. But I really don't think that the government should be dictating this stuff. And it's something that I'm going to disagree heavily with a bunch of my more evangelical conservatives. But, it's not even a thing about trying to court viewers or anything. It's just think about it for a minute. What if the shoe was on the other foot? Let's say the gay, and when I say the term the gays, I'm just trying to use it to shorten what I'm trying to explain to you. Let's say the gay people decided that, we're in charge, right? And let's say that they wanted to make straight marriage illegal. I wouldn't want that to happen either. So if the shoe was on the other foot, no. My answer's still no, It's not, I'm not going to flip-flop and change my opinion on that one just because someone, and heaven help me for mentioning someone with more viewers than I have, I'm not going to have someone like Melanie Mack come into any part of my life because she randomly becomes a senator someday and says, well, we passed this bill that means that you have to marry who we say you can marry. No, thank you. No, thank you. I will make that decision for myself. Thank you very much. And if it happens to run in contravention with what the Bible and God says, well, that would be between me, God, heaven, and hell, and you have no say in that matter. It's called being an adult. I don't need the government arranging my marriage for me. Thank you very much. I will marry who I damn well please, and she happens to be sitting right next to me. So, spending well, at least on the spending bill he's good. But the gay marriage thing's probably the one thing that's a no-go for me. And why was interracial marriage attached to that? Weren't we over that in the 60s? Why is that coming up in 2022? That is so weird. I thought that died in the 60s and 70s. Why are y'all still bringing that up in Senate bills? Oh, man. Why? We already have interracial marriages. They're already recognized by all 50 states. Why are you bothering to bring it up in a Senate bill? I don't understand this. Whatever. I don't know. I'd have to look into the bill, but some of the other stuff that he's got in here is meh, whatever. It's more the top one about the same-sex marriage ban thing. The fact that he condemned the Supreme Court's decision, dude. That's just, you can run your mouth about the Supreme Court all that you want, but if they say that something that you pass is not constitutional, newsflash, it's not constitutional. The only way to change that is to have the Supreme Court of a later composition change and have a later Supreme Court go back and say, no, this decision was wrong. Oh, let's see. Well, she supported. He supported. Excuse me. Amy Coney Barrett getting in, so that's kind of good, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. He is. Well, I mean, you can be family with people on the other side. That doesn't really that doesn't mean anything, but it's not nothing either. So I don't know. I think it's probably going to come down to a decision between Rick Scott and probably John Thune, because I don't think a majority of senators are going to feel safe with Cornyn, and it's just because of his mentality. I don't think that he's going to be capable of it personally. Jenks at it again. Watching a bunch of clueless establishment Democrats on television trying to figure out what went wrong in the election is hilarious, because the answer is them. He just told the truth. He's probably further left than anyone that I would know personally, but he did just tell the truth. Oh, man. The worst part about it is that no matter how much he says, no matter how much he says this, people like the nut job below his comment, the woman in that video there, they're not going to care. They're going to keep causing problems for the Democrat Party at all, like at every turn. And for people like me, it's been entertaining as hell to watch them burn their own party down, right? Trying to figure out, it's kind of like watching someone trying to figure out what started the fire without putting out the fire first. It's kind of hilarious to watch, but it's also kind of sad. Yeah, Krasensteins are getting crucified. Shocker there. I wasn't aware that New Jersey and New York were having wildfires. That is concerning because I live in New England. Okay. Huh. I wish 1984 was in that book stack, but I doubt it. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to drag this into Twitter too far, but, like, I don't know. Leave a comment. Who would you like to see as a senator? The Senate Majority Lead? I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of just going with the flow at this point, but we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I guess just keep your stick on the ice, right? Oh man, why is this not working?